Good evening, everyone. It's 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, and that means only one thing. It's the eye test, guys. Welcome to the eye test, Tuesday, 10 p.m. Myself, Omundi Juma, and Mr. Bath Time. How are you, Mr. Bath Time? I call you Mr. with respect because my respect grows for you week by week, you know.
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you, Mr. Juma. I will be at the Sociedad game this weekend, and despite what Omundi said earlier, if you think you hear me or you see me, you didn't. I am not interested in talking to you. Right, like I'm just a little girl in a bathtub on the internet. You don't need to be talking to me in real life. But I'm really, really excited about that, and I'm quite excited about the show tonight because I get to introduce a new concept, which I've been hinting at for a few weeks now.
That'd be interesting. We plan shows beforehand. We have conversations, that kind of thing. And the reason I call you Sir or Mister because I have been incorporating a lot of stuff that we've been talking about, and you show me and wording and to be able to label certain plays or moves or break it down. It makes it a lot easier for understanding. So, and I hope you guys watching as well are sort of really getting a better understanding of certain elements of the game. Just from our chat. And like you always say, Bath Time, we're not coaches, we're not experts. We're just observing the game like this. Just going back to you're going to Sociedad Thursday night, Man United versus Real Sociedad. Do we have like be high up in the tier and have a bird's eye view so you can sort of view the whole game and see about positions and shape, that kind of thing?
Probably, but as I've told you before, Monday, I get very drunk at football matches, and I go to participate, not to observe. So I will be singing and shouting, and I'll probably get dumped by my girlfriend because she doesn't like any of this sort of behaviour. But I don't care; it's my holiday. And also big shout out to Andy Tate, who was part of our planning session last night, and
that's right.
He'll be watching on his night shift, I think, at some point. So I hope that you like what you see, Andy. No one has mentioned this yet, but if you do see anything that you recognise on the eye test, like 3 at the back build up or a rest defence or something, please let us know. Because I'd love to know if people are beginning to see it, like, cause it would let us know if we can do our job better, basically.
Yeah. I certainly am. I mean, like I'm watching the games now with a few different eye. I'm observing different things now. I'm making notes and looking at it, and I'm really enjoying it as we go along. Just want to say hi to Realist United. Don't forget to check out his channel and his what do you call the other streaming site where they have Twitch. That's the one. Covers a lot of things, not just sports, but music as well. So big up to Realist United. Go and check them out. MUFC is here as well. So lucky Spurs winner. So they're through. Cement as well, part of Realist United. Blessings to everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. We are indeed. This guy's going to be single after the game. Oh dear. Here we go. And Emma's in here as well. So we're going in right now, guys. Stumpy Candletop is here as well. We're here to talk about West Ham versus Man United, or the other way around, Man United versus West Ham. I don't know what you guys thought about the game, but we've had time to sort of review it again, over and over again, and we're going to talk about certain things. The first thing we're going to discuss is the return of Harry Maguire. And you know, a lot of people on the show know that I'm a big endorser of Harry Maguire, but so is Bath Time with Vaughan. And so we're going to look at his pros and cons and how he performed the other day, because in the second half, he was certainly doing a lot better than the first. So we're going to open up the screen now. And, oh dear, what do we have here?
Now, everyone is tuned in. This is a very, very exciting moment for all of us at the United Agenda, because Omundi is finally going in on Harry Maguire today. And this is, as you can see, this is 2 minutes in. We don't have an animation of it because we can't really illustrate it as well on an animation. But we have the photo here. And Omundi, I want you to talk me through what on earth this position is from Maguire.
Okay. This is what I call a no man's land. What we saw earlier, we haven't got privilege to this, but Maguire's already scanned. He's already seen Barami, is it? There's
Benrahma.
Barami. Benrahma, sorry. He's already seen Benrahma as a threat. He's got to make a decision here. The guy's had time to turn. This is the striker, Samaka. He's had time to turn. He's dropped deep, peeled off Maguire to give himself more time. And he's just had time to turn because the ball's been turned over. And as you can see, he's facing Maguire now. Maguire's actually squared himself up. Where really, if you look at Martinez to his left, Martinez is already in his action. His body shape is to run. He's already reading things. Whereas Maguire is aware Benrahma is there, but he's now squared up with Samaka and thinking to myself, how did I get here? It's one of them moments where you think to yourself, damn, what is going on? And this is not, you don't want to be in this sort of position as a defender. I think where he made a mistake here is when the guy went deep, he's got to decide, do I get close enough to stop him from turning? Because my thing is, you pin the guy in, don't let him turn at you and run. Because especially Harry Maguire, that's an issue for him. He really struggles with those sort of situations, as we're seeing here. So he's too far from him. So what he should do is peel off and let whether it's Ericsson or Bruno or the other guys track this guy down and then let him come to you. But being so high up the pitch, knowing that De Gea is not going to come off his line, knowing he's the only centre back behind him is Martinez, that's not a good position to be on. He's too square, and you're not going to do anything from there. The guy's got time now to play a through pass, which he did in between Maguire and Martinez, in for Benrahma, who had an opportunity to run at Martinez, but thankfully Martinez shepherded him away and cleaned up the mess. But that is an error there. He got himself in the situation. But I would like to point out as well, when you see you've got 3 players ahead of him, so there is kind of a rest defence, and you should be dealing with these situations, but clearly not. I think Maguire's making a big error here. He should be peeling off and decided to come back because he didn't anticipate that the ball's going to get turned over and he wasn't close enough to smack her in the first place. So that's error number 1. But I give him a bly. A bly means I give him a break or whatever, because he's just coming back into the side. He needs its first few minutes. As you see on the clock, there's 2 minutes gone. And these are situations where he needs to sort of learn throughout the game. And I think you kind of forgive him for that. And it was dealt with. So I'm blaming Maguire for that. That is really wrong. Shape, positioning, indecisiveness. He should have been close or sort of peeled off. And he should have dealt with that before it even became a problem. And it was a problem.
Okay. Right. Omundi, I'm not giving Maguire a pass on this because I'm on record all the time as saying that Maguire can play in a high line and it's his best position, and it's where he would do his best defending. This body shape right here is not something I would expect to see in a League One match. What's he blocking in that position? Nothing. That he looks like an amateur footballer. When you look at Martinez, that's the sort of action you should be in. He's got both feet planted. It's unreal. However, as a midfielder, that's Casemiro there. He's wildly out of position.
True.
Like the team haven't helped Maguire, but luckily we get out of it. And I would just be concerned, right, that I think you make a very good point about how when the ball, Maguire's job in this rest defence, even though there isn't really one here, is to try and win the ball up the pitch as far as possible. And when this guy has turned, Maguire's in a problem, and what he does is nothing. Yeah. He's not like, look, this is his cover shadow, and you can see the rest of the pitch. He's got to drop back. This is really, really amateur. Fine. This happens once or twice a season, but it happened again, and I have the clip of it happening again. So we'll show you the photo. But can you talk us through this clip and what went wrong and all of that kind of stuff?
So 20 minutes later now, this is the 22nd minute, it happens again. We're in position here. Martinez with Ericsson and the two guys, Maguire and Martinez. Guess who's peed off Maguire again? It's Samaka. He's peed off the centre back, and then we lose the ball. So he's got time to turn, and Maguire commits himself this time. He tries to make amends, and this time he tries to commit, and he didn't take the guy out, didn't do anything. The guy skipped past him. He was late. because his indecision again. You either go, get close to the guy so he can't turn. The whole point is you pin a guy. When you pin a guy, it's like putting a drawing pin in his back. You play that way, make him play the way he's facing. He's allowed him to turn twice in 20 minutes, and with dangerous situation there, get close, so don't let him turn. And he's allowed him to turn, and he's had to go and commit himself. And there he is. There, look, he's had to commit himself now, and he went to ground, and
He
the guy
goes,
skipped
yeah.
past it.
He slides in here, and to be honest, once again, Casemiro also slid in. But this is all quite concerning to me on several levels. One is that in the first instance of like Maguire coming in here, this is Benrahma. Benrahma didn't commit to Martinez. Like here, he commits. He goes for him, and Eriksen. I don't know anything about this Downs guy, to be perfectly honest with you. But I would think that most Premier League forwards against Eriksen at the back post is a mismatch. But Eriksen does well here, and the team helps him out. But this is poor from Casemiro and Maguire. But Maguire is the one that we notice because this is a ridiculous decision what he makes here, and I'm very, very concerned about Maguire's behaviour here. Drop off. It
was a case actually of two players. Casemiro, when we came to ball rate, Casemiro tried to foul Samaka. He went to ground, tried to foul him, and then he got away from him. And then Maguire tried to do the same thing to make amends. They realised something's wrong here. This guy's turned. You never allow these guys to turn and run at you. That's the worst nightmare for any centre back or any defender.
Because what Casemiro needs to do here is he just needs to be a big pudding and stand Dawson up. Because what would normally happen here is if Casemiro doesn't commit, that ball probably goes this direction. But eventually, you're going to get a long boot into this kind of area from someone.
And you eat that up.
Eat that up. Maybe on a good day, Dawson might be able to find this space. But it's not that dangerous. But the key thing is if Casemiro stands Dawson up, Maguire can go and pin Shamaka.
Yeah.
And this is what you want from your central defenders. Is Omondi's completely correct. When you turn and you're looking that way, it's dangerous. When you're looking that way towards your own goal, there's nothing to worry about. Right? You're in control of the situation, which is where things like third man runs come in to make stuff more dangerous. But Casemiro committing here gives Maguire a very difficult test, and he completely fails it because he panics and he dives in.
And it's exactly the same situation with Benrahma running down the left. Maguire's already scanned this. He knows this is going on, and
he knows
twice
where Delo is.
Yeah.
That's the key information, right? So when you talk about scanning, Delo's in an inverted position, and we're not in a good shape here. I can't lie, we're not in a good shape because Casemiro's too far forward. But here, Maguire knows Delo and Benrahma is a 1v1. He knows Delo is there. He knows Benrahma's there. He knows Alangi is there, and yet he still goes and commits. And my reputation's on the line with this, Omondi. I've said for years Maguire's good in a high line, and I'm looking like a fool.
But to repair the damage, you can. Yes. It's a mental thing. You can. It's decision making. So can he repair the damage? It's the thing, because yesterday on the show, he was getting penalties. Oh, he's finished. He can't play. He can't be captain. He can never be. I understand where it comes from, but it's not something he can't fix. It's not like saying you're not fast enough anymore, like certain players when you get old, like myself, that can't play because I can't run like you. Bath time. But once you lose that, then you can't replace that. But decision making at 29 years old, I think he can still make that change. And what we're going to see now is that he does make that change during the game. Second half, roll it, please.
Okay. Now, I just want everyone to know that Omondi picked Maguire as man of the match. And this is one of the reasons that Omondi thinks he's man of the match. So 58th minute, Omondi, second half, take it away.
So, mind you, we've just been talking about Maguire being indecision, letting players, bad decision making, going to ground, not getting close enough, and not standing people up. So, West Ham had the ball here. Bowen plays it wide to the right back, and he gets the return pass into a dangerous area here. And Maguire's shuffled over and made a good block on Bowen. Sorry. So, that's a decision making call. There's a few issues here, as we can see. Maguire is looking at Antonio. Antonio peels off him. Maguire's kind of like far from Martinez. There's a huge space to play in between, but he does the right thing by getting across and standing the guy up, getting there early.
Okay.
So that is retribution, in my opinion, and that shows from those two key errors that he made in the first half, he's actually made a good decision here by standing the guy up. And so retribution to Maguire. That's why I salute him, and he played better in the second half as the game went on with more confidence.
He did. And there's a couple of things I want to point out here that lead to why this is actually very good defending from Maguire. Like, most of you might expect any player to sort this out, but when we go through what we're seeing here, it's this is pretty good from West Ham, and we handle it well. And the first thing to look at is the position of Rice and Downs as this move starts.
They split.
Right. Rice moves into an area called the interior that we're going to discuss later, and this allows a gap for Downs to go in. Now, when a player receives in between the lines, it's not Maguire has done well here, because if Maguire goes in, I know it's only West Ham, and you might not rate these players, but they are looking to pop that back to Zuma and drive it into the space. That's a third man combination that they're looking for, or a flick on from Antonio. Maguire holds his position and he isn't sucked in by the run of Downs because Casemiro this is Casemiro's role here to go and sort this out. Now we have a problem here because Rice is splitting our block.
Yeah.
Right?
Huge gap.
That's a huge gap, and that's a real problem. And it's down to Bruno or Casemiro who should have filled that role. And this is their double pivot. This is Rice here. This is Soucek here. Bruno on Soucek. Rice on Eriksen. Casemiro has got to be here. And if he's here, he stops that ball. So that is the first thing, is we're getting pulled apart here because of the intelligence of Rice and Downs. But Maguire hasn't fallen for it. Casemiro's got back into position. Sometimes you will just naturally be out of position. It's how you react being out of position that you get in. But now Bruno, I think, is out of position. Someone has to be here, Omundi.
Yep, agreed.
Someone's got to be here. And this is where the problem starts. Bowen receives the ball where someone should be blocked, right?
Yep.
We got our double block here, but it's a little bit too wide. And I want you to watch Bowen's movement. Do you see, yep, ladies and gentlemen? Bowen has run in on the blind side of Casemiro. Down has pulled into this space here, and Maguire has identified that Downs is someone that he wants to be looking at, because Downs and bloody Rice have swapped their positions. So this is why this big hole opens up here, and Eriksen is going to get beaten by Bowen. Maguire recognises this, and he sees that this is the area that he needs to shut down. It's the most dangerous. The ball gets played in. Maguire, he doesn't even really commit himself. He just gets that big head of his in the way and puts his arse in. And some people thought it could be a penalty. It clearly wasn't a penalty. But it's extremely good defending. And it's actually bailed Casemiro out from looking like a bit of an imbecile. to be honest, because
For sure.
Casemiro and Eriksen had very poor matches. Maybe not their fault. They played an awful lot of football, but they weren't good yesterday. But I think before we get on to the main part of the show now on Monday, after we've done a bit of Maguire, the rise and the fall and rise of Maguire, can we do some comments? Have we got
Yep,
people
here we
going
go.
mad?
Very quickly, Mark Edmonds saying, just tuned in. Time to hear Maguire's stuffed up. This is Maguire out of touch. This shows Maguire's out of touch as MEFC. Box said, not making excuses, but I felt Maguire grew into the game, became a colossus in the second half. Mark Edmonds saying, lucky Dello came across and pinched the ball. That was in the first half break by West Ham. Box saying, I think so, Rich. A fully fit Maguire takes no prisoners. Realist is saying something here, saying which is true. Maguire defends too flat-footed, as we saw in the first half. Box said, I think Maguire is aware that Ben Rama poses a little threat in terms of scoring, so he took his chances. Maguire is on another level to us, equals, says Box. Cement is saying, would you say Maguire panics due to his poor reading of the game or something else? I just think once he gets into the flow of things with his system, he'll be improved, as we showed in the second half. He made an adaptation to his decision making and clean it up, and that didn't happen again. Boxer saying Maguire is a confidence player, very weak mentally at times, and it shows in his game. To be fair, but when he settles, we see the true Maguire. Want to say hi to Bubs. Hey Bubs, she says I highly disagree. He just doesn't fit our system. We can't force compatibility here. Emma Kay saying Maguire's decision making is what let him down time and time again. Our defenders need to be good decision makers, and our forwards need to track back. Realist is saying, I think you're spot on with his reading of the game regarding to talking to Cement. Edmund saying Ten Hag had to take off attackers and drop deep to protect Maguire. Maguire can't play a high line. I've been saying this all the time, says Edmund, and I'm taking credit for it. Fox is saying Ten Hag put on Fred and McTominay versus Chelsea when Maguire wasn't in the squad. Want to say hi to King's Football Show. Big up to you, man, as well. Ten Hag sacrifices attackers and invites pressure, says Box as well. And I'll leave it there. He's saying Casemiro wasn't bad, said Box. But we're going to go into that because, you were saying something there about creating space. It's something I'm trying to sort of get some understanding of.
I just want to give the comments a bit, a little bit of like some response here because we just read them out. We haven't really sort of replied to them. Box, I think, was trying to be funny when he said like Maguire knows more than we do, like he knows more than we do, and Rama's not good and stuff. But Box is right. It's that Harry Maguire knows more about football than this entire chat put together. He is an excellent defender. He's one of the best defenders in Europe when used correctly. And that man has been through a hell of a lot in the last 2 years. He's derided. His name mentioned in a chat causes it causes sort of tribal warfare and things. Maguire is in a situation where his confidence is like rock bottom and stuff like that. And the one thing I would say about the bad decisions he made that I kind of rate is that he went and tried to do something. He didn't hide. He went and committed himself to these things. Whilst they were the wrong decisions, I always want an aggressive centre back over a passive centre back. That's always been Man United centre backs to me, like Vidic, Ferdinand, stuff like that. And that may or may not be the right thing, but I think that with Maguire in the team and a bit more confidence, you're going to see. You've seen Rashford improve. Some of you think McTominay has improved. Some of you think Alanga has improved. Like you will see an improvement in Maguire as we understand the coaching more. Like he has a lot of very valuable attributes. But I also respect that a lot of you think pace and all this kind of stuff is important as a defender. I personally don't, but I do respect what you're saying. And in terms of Maguire, the team being set up to carry Maguire, I'm now going to show you some clips about why I don't think the team is being set up to carry Maguire. I think it's being set up to carry another man. And I think everyone knows what man I'm going to be dissing when I'm giving them the chance.
Like this.
They're not going to like this. No one's going to like this. All right.
So what we got here is second minute.
Just before we start this clip of Monday, in chat, in the comments, did you think United were slow building up from the back? Was it frustrating? All that kind of stuff. Like, let me know, and we'll come back to it and see if I can change anyone's opinion on this. But Omundi, I want you to talk us through this quite long clip.
So this is the second minute. We're trying to play out from the back. Obviously, where West Ham are drilled to try and play us. We've got the two centre backs and the goalkeepers just pinging it around and looking for openings. Martinez drives forward, gets engaged by Downs, passes it back to De Gea, who passes it long to Martinez again. Maguire now sort of carries the ball forward, plays it wide to Dalot, who plays it back because there's nothing on. And the keeper plays it back to Martinez. He looks up, plays it square now, and Casemiro's come into a back three, which has suddenly given Dalot option to get forward, and we've created a chance.
Right. I'm not going to ask you to pronounce it, Omundi, but it's La Salida Volpiano. Okay, 3 at the back build up. Okay, so what we're looking at here is we're looking at United doing some stuff that I don't like. And what I don't like, and we'll explain it a little bit more after this clip, but one man in all this space is something I can't countenance. This just looks like a disaster to me.
Yeah.
So what that means, right, is that we can't progress through the center of the pitch. We don't have the numbers, we don't have the protection. We have to go wide. And if you look at the starting positions of Martinez and Maguire, both of them need to be a hell of a lot wider. This block here needs to be pulled further apart.
Yeah.
The reason that these two are here is because of De Gea. De Gea cannot reliably receive the ball with them further apart. If you go back to the Brighton and Brentford games, centre backs were far wider and higher, and it just didn't work out because whatever you think of De Gea, you might think he had a great match, etc., etc. He's not good enough at distributing the ball, and this is a massive issue for us here. Because we're unable to get the width from our centre backs. This isn't split. Benrahma is kind of forming the third, but you can see that Benrahma and Bowen these are traps where they're waiting for direct balls out here to try and steal them. And obviously they've got Souček and Rice against Eriksen and Bruno. Like I'd be very as much as we love Eriksen, he's not getting near any of them.
Yep.
Like there's no pass there because West Ham are in a good block. If Maguire is here, we've got an opportunity. If Martinez is here, right? So if Martinez is here, Downs has to come out more and the passing lanes open up. But we can't because of De Gea, right? I'm not telling you that this is a fact. This is the evidence here, and this is my conclusion from it. But our build-up issues, I don't think are from Wire. I think that they're from De Gea. And now what we're going to see is Casemiro's had enough of this. We're getting nowhere. So we go back to a football tactic that is 12 years out of date, which is called La Salida Volpiano, where your central midfielder drops in to form a back three. Nowadays, your goalkeeper would normally play the central player in the back three system. Casemiro has to do it. Maguire will come in, and when Casemiro goes into a back three, it's a signal for the fullbacks to get forward and provide width. So you see Casemiro dropping into the back three.
Yeah.
Dalot is off on his bike. You see the narrowness of their front three, and you've got a player with the technical ability to hit Dalot, and we're off. Like this is make no mistake, this is a good block from West Ham. There seems to be no danger, but this is why build-up is so important. But the issue is we don't have Casemiro here in case we lose the ball because he's had to come back here. And Manchester United's build-up play is causing a lot of problems. And then Rashford and Ronaldo, they get in each other's way, basically. Not a clear strike. Shaw, Shaw should probably be level with Delo here, but we're in this horrible 4-6 formation that
That's
I
not what
don't
you want.
like.
Yeah,
No, it's not what I want. So with with Maguire is an excellent progressive passer of the ball. And if we can get in a situation where Maguire and Martinez are genuinely 10 yards wider from each other, we can get out a lot easier. But De Gea is the issue here. So when people talk about how we can't, I think it was Burb said we can't carry Maguire. We're having to carry a lot of people in this team with our setup. You ever wonder why Bruno is so bloody high? It's to help Ronaldo. Like, Casemiro doesn't have legs, so he needs someone around him. De Gea can't kick the ball, and that is the sign of our team.
yeah.
It's not just Maguire that is the issue. Um, but before we get on to the most exciting tactical innovation, I'm going to take my medicine and listen to what the comments are saying about what
Okay,
I've
well, it's
just said.
kicking off right now. It
I would
really
think
is
so.
kicking off.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. It's
Okay.
all right. I can take. We can all take it.
So Emma's saying Maguire's going to have people cut after him the rest of the time at Man United, and it's going to affect his confidence that he can't play the club. Abab saying playing with Maguire is equivalent of playing with 10 men because someone always has to protect him almost all the time. Mark Edmonds saying Casemiro has to come back to the back three because Maguire couldn't pass through the lines. Box is saying I have to credit De Gea for being more proactive off his line, sweeping, which improves the team. We need him a little more proactive off his line on set pieces.
Hmm.
Abab is saying Maguire brought this on himself. I have serious sympathy for him. It is one thing to play badly, but his attitude stinks. Again, she's saying, stop blaming this on De Gea. The only thing that changed in this team was Maguire. I'm so sick of the De Gea agenda. It's not a coincidence that when Maguire comes in, De Gea is man of the match. King's Football said, I don't think Maguire can play in a high tempo. Everything he does, he needs time. He needs to know his level and play at a lower team. Box is saying De Gea hasn't been coached or hasn't wanted to tweak his game. Either way, it means he's in his 30s and learning new styles, which is not ideal. Mark Edwards saying our distribution is fine with Lindelof and Varane. Maguire and De Gea can't play together, so Maguire has to be dropped. Barbs is saying centre backs are closer to De Gea because of Maguire. In most of our games, after two, De Gea has had very little to do. Realist is saying Barb time is defending Maguire more than Maguire does on the pitch. That's quite funny.
That's good on you.
Ever is saying there's been a lot of changes of goalkeeping coaches during the years. Bub is saying attributing this to De Gea is nonsense. Show me where a case where Maguire didn't play and we did this. I want to say hi to Blackmore 79. How you doing? Says Maguire should have found a pass. So it's all on Maguire. It seems like they don't agree. De Gea doesn't have good enough distribution, says Mark Edmund. In fairness, however, Maguire magnifies it and stop the De Gea agenda.
Never.
Says thing. Yeah. And
All right,
sorry,
I
one
replied
more
to
here.
some of these. Okay.
One more here. Tyrone saying,
Oh, okay.
Tyrone,
It's
how
a
you doing, man?
Carrick.
He says Carrick wasn't the quickest either. Carrick, like Casemiro, is able to play intelligently. He knows where to be in the pitch. His positional play is fantastic. He's a United player. Talking about Casemiro. And Emma's saying Maguire might be excellent at passing, but he's incredibly slow and is absolutely shitting it when he has the ball. And Reedus is saying Bruno was playing bloody high before we got CR38 back. He's 38 now. And Bruno's always played in no man's land, says Blackmore. Abab saying, I will pick De Gea over Maguire any day. De Gea can save the game for us. Maguire can't. And
Right,
sorry
I'm
you're
on there.
late,
I've got.
Super Nick. There you go.
All right, I've got to stop you because there's a lot of stuff coming through
Yeah,
here. I'm not responding Carrick stuff like that.
yeah.
We can do a different show on Michael Carrick and that that myth. Um, right, that I understand. Maguire terrible, De Gea brilliant. I've shown you over the last 6 or 7 weeks, I have shown you continuous problems with building up from the back. I've shown you the different things that we've had to do to overcome De Gea's inability to distribute. Right? We've seen Varane having to drive at players because Varane isn't the best passer. He's actually done quite well recently, but we've seen Varane having to drive players in order to get us up the pitch. Maguire is a better ball progressor than Varane, and I think that as we see his confidence go, you'll see him make more dribbles up the pitch, that we can do. I know that all of you have an opinion, and I'm not calling you like idiots or anything like this, and I understand that you don't have the right to reply, and you also don't come with videos. But please feel free to come with videos. But what the point that we're trying to make is, or that I am trying to make, is that everyone who says like when we play with Maguire, we play with a man less. This isn't true, but it is true of De Gea, because I've just shown you that we have to use La Salida Volpiana, where a central midfielder drops back. This is a tactic that top teams stopped using in about 2016. That you can carbon date De Gea to being 8 years out of 8 years behind. That puts us 8 years behind. I respect that De Gea has done quite a lot for the club and all of this sort of stuff. I'm sorry, I've just seen Tyrone's comment. Tyrone, the thing is, right, is Box and a few people know my views on Carrick, and I'm not getting drawn in. I know you don't, but I'm not getting drawn into a Carrick conversation now, because the spoiler is I don't rate Carrick. Vox, stop it. But anyway, this is the point. I'm not trying to change anyone's opinion. I'm showing you the evidence and my conclusion from it, and you're welcome to have your own conclusion.
Just to trump that, look, regardless of that, I think the manager things don't happen by coincidence. As you saw there, the two centre backs were more narrow, and I think that was done by design on the training ground to say, how are we going to solve this problem playing out? Bartime made a great point during the week. He watched Arsenal. They're doing it really well at the moment, playing out from the back, and it's a big advantage. And I think Ten Hag wants to get to a stage where we can play out fluently and be adapted to any sort of situation that we come up against. As we've seen several times this season, we've sort of fallen short of certain situations. So I think there is some truth in it. That maybe De Gea does need to improve his kicking. I saw the last game we played; it really did. He was hitting the target a lot more, and he's getting more confidence. And I think as you grow with more coaching in certain areas, then we will see improvements like that with professional players when you're doing things day in, day out. So hopefully we will see De Gea improve his kicking and distribution. But at the moment, we're at the stage where we just have to take baby steps to get to that stage. And this is why we're just highlighting a few issues there with the kicking of De Gea. And hopefully that will improve in the future.
Perfect. And now we come on. God, I wonder how people are going to react to the last point that I make about how.
Let's go. Let's get into it.
All right. Now we're gonna like talk about some actual tactical stuff. Okay. And I'm gonna be using pretentious foreign words because I don't know what they are in English. I wasn't coached in England properly. I was coached in Latin America. So let me know, Omundi, when you can see my screen.
Yeah, you're up. You're up. I'm just going to throw in the comments as they're coming through as well.
Sure. Yeah. I know what I'm saying is not popular, and I'm not doing it to start arguments, but I'm very willing to respond to anyone who's listening to my nonsense. Right. This is what we expect from a Ten Hag side, right? We expect the rest defence with one aggressive centre back in the middle, and then two cover defenders in the interior position of the midfield, which is this area here. Let's call this the central midfield. When you're off centre in these areas here, this is the interior, and this is going to be the focus for the rest of the show. And then you have your two players here to go and contribute with the counter press. Ten Hag is doing this, which I really don't like. I don't like it at all, where he is playing a 4-6, where we have like four players occupying central areas and two players providing width. Don't worry about their numbers. This could be anyone. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to move teams across like this, and then use Casemiro's or whoever's playing as the pivot, which is the reference point for your team, to transition. And one thing that we've never actually mentioned on this show on Monday that I've just realised is that when you transition the football, basically when you switch it to the other side, you always, always, always want to do it from the center of the pitch. Always. And
Okay, that
do
makes
like
sense.
what? Yeah. Why do we want to do that on Monday?
So I think, I always, you should never play the ball across the park, middle of the park. There's so many ways it can be cut out there. It reduces the length, the length that you're
Hmm.
playing the ball, and you're going to hit your target more than often than playing from. You're not Beckham. Not everyone can hit that,
Yeah.
spray that pass. As we saw the other day, Harry Maguire, for example, tried to spray some balls. He got picked out when he played crossfield balls from central areas,
Yeah.
and he still got picked out, and then they were on the counter. So you have to be really careful in that situation. So I do understand why we're always told do not pass across,
Yeah.
play across the
And
middle of the park.
the last reason why you don't want to do it is because it gives you the opportunity to register the block, which is that a block doesn't always move at the same speed. So as the ball is here and it gets recycled into the middle of the pitch, into like your triangle or your diamond, if the number 6 doesn't move at the same speed as the number 10, you've got the option to pass the ball in. So to all my Sunday League players there watching, um, don't be doing what I used to do and just show you've got a big kick and do it from one flank to the other. Do it in
Yeah,
the middle of the pitch and look for the gaps, even
yeah.
if there's nothing better in football than showing you've got a big kick. And now it's time to talk about um, what the problem is at United with low blocks and how Ten Hag might have found the answer to it. And for regular listeners, you know who that man is.
Who would that
Okay.
be?
It was Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay is the key to beating low blocks, and it's not actually because McTominay possesses any magic powers or has a different skill set to anyone else. It's how he was used in the second half. We've got an example of it before you all start going mental, but I want to talk about a block. So if we go into a standard 4-4-2 block against a rest defense like this, what you would
Yeah,
normally expect is you would expect two players um, to be in what we have called for quite some time the half space, but this is actually the interior of the midfield. And what this means, right, is that if this number 8 drifts out into the interior, you will find players get attracted to him that allow a big gap for
yeah,
a number 10 or a 9 or someone to come into. Man United's big problem against low blocks is that Ericsson is not a central midfielder. Right? He's an attacking midfielder. He's played as an attacking midfielder for 10 years. You need very, very different skills to be an interior than you do to be an attacking midfielder.
yeah,
And well, it's more actually about how you take your touch, how you receive the ball, and all these things that like you're coached on for years. So it's very difficult to change it. But what Ten Hag did in the second half is he started using Scott as an interior that allowed us to get up the pitch. And it is no coincidence that that happened when Alangi went off and Bruno went to right wing. Bruno Fernandes has to be reined in if we are going to the next level because he's playing as a bloody centre forward instead of as an interior midfielder. And
yeah,
just before we give you the example, an interior, right? I'm not a big fan of things like Mazzalas and Registas and all that. I don't know what they mean. But I know what a pivot is. A pivot player, someone who's basically his job is to be a reference point for a football team. So we've talked a lot about how I get very angry when I'm playing in the pivot and my fullbacks get ahead of me. Fullbacks
yeah,
have to orientate themselves around the pivot. Okay, that is the point of a pivot. It's the whole team rotates around him. He or she sets like the positional play standards.
well explained.
Interior, thank you.
Mm.
Interior midfielders play around the pivot. So they will normally be in the centre, but slightly off centre. If you go back to the episodes on the eye test that we did about Arsenal and Manchester City, one of the big things that Manchester City tried to do and Arsenal tried to do is that Xhaka, Partey, um, Silva and De Bruyne are all interior midfielders, and they went into the interior to try and create huge gaps in this area to
Yeah.
allow passes in between the lines. United have been struggling to progress the ball up the pitch because we don't have an interior player. So when we have when we have our centre backs kind of split, our full backs up using the pivot as a reference, we need Bruno Fernandes and we need Aaron to be
Yeah.
making this midfield as wide as possible to break open the block. And it's something that we haven't seen at any point this season until Scott McTominay appeared in the 61st minute, and no joke, we created 3 or 4 chances in the 10 minutes before Casemiro's fitness fell off and Fred came on and just did Fred things. And I will show you one of them now. But this is how I think United should be going forward. So Monday, talk us through
Just before
this.
you start, I just want to say
Oh yeah,
we
comments on
have
it.
spoken about Rice. Rice was dominating the game, and Rice was in central positions, always available to the ball. I thought he was magnificent. I didn't really rate him as I didn't know him enough. But after that game, and we spoke about it, we looked at it, I
Yeah,
realized how brilliant this guy is. So Rice has come on, he's caused us a problem. We suddenly, just like Chelsea, we started well, they made a tactical decision. We couldn't really break them down. They brought another guy in midfield. We were struggling to break through. We didn't really create many chances apart from in the first half. And then there's a long period, we didn't create any chances. So the manager has to take credit for giving the
yeah.
McTominay instruction to be a nuisance for Rice, who was causing us issues. If you go and rewatch the game, Rice was causing us a problem. So he's instructed McTominay to be in this interior position, which will create space and open up the middle for us to exploit. When we did do that, and we did create chances from that. But yeah, let's run this play.
Okay.
So Ericsson's got the ball. He's come deep as he usually does. Back to De Gea, back to Martinez. Right back now to Dalot. Plays it across the field. We shouldn't do. We just said that. Ericsson in midfield pops it. We're recycling the ball here. Gets it back. He got his head up. He plays it wide to Rashford. And Shaw, sorry. And Shaw is running forward and he gets a cross in from the half space, which is something we seem to be doing a lot lately. And we get to create a chance.
All right. So this doesn't look that special, does it, Omondi? But this is elite level
Not
tactics.
initially.
This is elite level tactics, and this is something that I think should excite everyone. Just as we pause this here, this is the first time in a while we've developed an overload on one side. Okay, that's the first thing that excites me. But when we go back to the start of the clip, we'll just wait for Shaw to get that in. Also, shout out the rest defence that has formed here. You can see that Scott has instantly gone on to Rice. Okay, Rice was having too much influence in the game. Scott's gone on to Rice. This is a throw-in. We're not going to lose the ball here. So we're setting up to do a pattern of play, and Bruno is behaving himself out on the right wing. Comes back, our fullbacks drop. Maguire gets into space. De Gea, believe me, this is exactly where he was. I couldn't believe it either, but he was there.
Well done, De Gea.
He gets the ball, and this is the start. Right, you know that Martinez is going to go wide to try and sort stuff out. Right, it's going to open up this 3-man block here. Normally, what you would see from United is you would see McTominay or Casemiro in this position here, right?
Yeah.
Forming the block in the centre. Scott is blindside of Rice, who is in a block with Souček, and there's a problem developing here for West Ham. And we'll run it just so you see that it develops. Scott on the blind side of Rice. This is the ball here from Dalot. Dalot pings it out. Absolutely fine. Ericsson's got space, right? Rice and Souček are on Casemiro. Like these 4 lads here are shutting down that pivot. So that ball isn't going there. There's no danger anywhere across here. But this is where the day comes. McTominay has moved out here. He's taken Rice with him. Gap developed between these players here. Eriksen is between the lines. Eriksen's going to get the ball. Eriksen receives between the lines. This is excellent play from Maguire, by the way, because he's drawn Downs in. Souček has an issue here because he's got to go and put pressure on Eriksen. If he goes to put pressure on Eriksen, look at Antonio, by the way, shutting the pass off to the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
If he goes and puts it on, it's a straight ball to Casemiro. Rice has got to put the pressure on, and McTominay is free. McTominay has dragged this block apart simply by playing in the interior.
Yep.
And this happened 3 or 4 times where what we normally saw actually was a ball coming into Ronaldo. But here, this is 3 at the back build-up, which is Salida Volpiano. And what does that mean for a fullback?
Bomb on.
Bomb on. Rashford makes the space. He bombs on. And the overload develops. And this is the first time we've done this. Where we've got like a better ball in from Shaw, even though it's actually quite a good ball. Like
it did reach the head of Ronaldo.
Yeah, it did. It was a good ball. Ronaldo, he just wasn't in the right position. But again, you've got McTominay being bloody annoying because Rice has got to get out there, and there's a gap there. And what you would expect to see is you'd expect to see Rashford moving in and taking Dawson or taking Kehler and getting the free ball in. And this is the change that Ten Hag made, is that he took Bruno out of his attacking midfield role and he put the much more tactically disciplined McTominay
Brilliant.
And McTominay played his role well. And we've got loads of clips that we could show you, but we just thought we'd show you that one because we want to do a shorter show tonight. And unless you've got anything to add, Omundi, I think it's probably time for me to take more medicine from the comments.
Well, the interior position, this is a really key thing we've been shown here. It sort of dragged Rice to dominate the game. He broke his block because he had to suddenly now chase Scott McTominay, especially when the back post there. Rice would be in big trouble with his manager if Scott McTominay had arrived there and scored a goal because he got him on the blind side. We saw that in the first half with Bowen on blind side of Casemiro, doing an underlap run. You know, so it's really important. You've got to go with your man. And Rice, where he was bossing the show, suddenly he had a man on his blind side, playing sort of wider, sort of in those sort of half spaces. It's kind of it's called an interior position, but drifting off wide, which creates space down the middle. And we also saw examples where he was drawing Rice out wide that creates a gap in the middle where passes were made into Ronaldo. And Ronaldo chested one down and popped it off and started plays like that because Ronaldo was central. So it's a really, really good decision by the manager. And it's great eye test spotting by halftime to highlight this because, you can watch the game. I didn't see it at first, but going over it, I really acknowledge this now, and it's great. And we got ourselves once again where we were struggling before. Suddenly we got ourselves in a position, which is one of our set plays to cross the ball from the half space, and we nearly scored with an overload as well at the back post. So I'm
it's brilliant
about that.
Just to compare it, whilst you load things up, just to compare it to where we don't have, where like look, Bruno here is too central. Eriksen's in an okay position, but Bruno needs to be on this side of Rice here. And if he's on that side of Rice, you can have Eriksen drop in, you can have Ronaldo drop in. There is a conundrum that I can't solve about why Bruno is allowed to do Bruno things. Because this, Omundi, is just ridiculous. Someone's got to be here pulling that block apart.
Yeah,
it's unreal. But anyway,
are you ready for this?
I'm going to stop it.
Ready for something? Right, we're going to finish up now with some comments. Thanks, guys. 15 in the chat. Make sure you press the like button, and we're just going to finish up with a couple of comments here. Maguire's not compatible with us. We need to stop forcing it. It won't work, says Bub. The last thing on Maguire, I just think the shirt is not getting too heavy for him. A bit like Henson and the preseason preload from Emma K. King's Football saying it's not about pace, it's about mobility. When you have the ball on your feet, you have to pass it quickly. Maguire struggles with that, and also his reading of dangerous situations nowhere near mentions players. Yes, says Edmund McTominay late runs from 10. I think he's saying 10 Hag. Abub saying, don't mind the Mac Chicken, to be honest. He's a good squad player, talking about McTominay.
Wow.
Kyron saying, I can't disagree with that. He used to hold on to the ball for too long as well, and he used to drive me mad while Martinez passing down the back with ease. They're still on the thing. We're going to move on now to more up-to-date stuff about Bruno here. Bruno lacks composure and decision-making, says Edmund, making at times. I think he's trying to do too much. Bit of a Hollywood pass in him, isn't it? Tyron saying, I believe Bruno, but I agree he needs to slow down. And I think about his decision-making. Sometimes Rashford has really improved on. Great
Yeah, I agree with this
observation
100%.
there. I do
yeah.
agree with you, Tyrone. Abub saying, I blame that on Ollie. Bruno sees himself as a saviour. Good shout. Basically, because he got second for us when he came. Obviously, came second in the league when he arrived in January. Started really well. He needs to reel it in a bit. That's a good comment there from Abub. Realistic United said Mazzala has winger or someone who plays in the half space. KDB. Redista is an aggressive deep playmaker like Prelo, for example. So thanks for that brilliant. Tyrone saying, since Eric Ten Hag has come in, I'm seeing United create chance after chance on a regular basis. It's a joy to watch, but imagine how we could be in 2 years. That's fantastic. I mean, we are on the move. We are progressing. We like to see that. Super Nick, how you doing? Says, we seem to be finding open channels more often, and the timing has slightly improved too. Not the finished article, but compared to how we have been playing, it's a positive change. And just to finish up, Box saying Bruno looks a mixture of Zidane and Shelby at times. I don't know if I'm missing him here. Abub saying, I need Shaw to continue his form. He has turned it around, hasn't he, Abub?
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Shaw that I like is that in our sort of positional play system, like when we talk about the interior position, you will find your fullbacks should be getting in that space a lot. And as I've said before, it's like in the different zones on a football pitch, you have to do different things when you touch the ball, right? It's why overcoaching is a massive problem in like youth academies through the country and things, because players like, if you look at someone like Donny van der Beek, who might be overcoached, he doesn't know how to receive the ball. Well, he knows how to receive the ball in certain areas, but it's just such a mechanical, over-rehearsed reaction that he ends up taking a touch that slows it down, whereas that would be the correct touch to take in a different area. And what Shaw is leagues of on Malacia is his ability to receive the ball and work it in tight spaces with different passing angles in those areas. And this is why Aaron Wan-Bissaka ain't getting anywhere near the team, because he genuinely doesn't have our best interior player is actually probably Martinez. The passes you see him make, the lines or out wide, those are the kind of passes you need. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I mean, like, he's a United player. He's done quite well for us. He doesn't have a bloody hope in those areas.
Totally agree. Box finally saying Shaw has impressed me. So frustrating because he lacks consistency. But I think that with the coach and now with the manager, as we're seeing here, the development, there's 20 in the comments, guys. 20 watching right now. Make sure you press the like button. I don't know what you guys think. Box is also saying that Wan-Bissaka could be replaced by Fring from is it Red Bull he plays for? Malacia is a genuine competition for Shaw, says Mark Edmund. So we're starting to build a squad here with players that are being identified, can perform in different positions, as we've seen here in the rest defence, in the block, playing wide. You know, there's so many different factors to the game of football that we're seeing from Ten Hag. So it's pleasing. And all you guys as Man United fans, and you know, you must be excited by this, as Tyrone was saying earlier. There's so many things that we're trying to identify here that was promising, which, like they say, in 2 years' time, imagine how it would be if we've got this all drilled down. Don't you think about half time?
Yeah, I do. I mean, like, it is a bit like when sort of see City, you can expect City to innovate and improve every season with the disgusting resources that they have. Like, they can get pretty much anyone in they want. When you look at Arsenal, you can see that just a couple of players has made them go up levels. And
Yeah, that's true.
I think that, like, for me personally, I think that Rice is the player that United need most in the outfield. I think he would elevate us to a completely unforeseen level. I think that we're not going to see huge changes until we get rid of De Gea, or De Gea like improves to a level that I don't think he's capable of. And I think like Bruno, yeah, like Bruno's just an odd one. I think that needs to be let go of eventually. He wouldn't get
Yeah,
near like any Guardiola or Arteta team because he's
yeah,
too ill disciplined.
agreed.
Ronaldo has to go, but the thing is, we're making so much progress. We're making it far quicker than I thought that we would.
Mm,
Like plus we've got players like McTominay, maybe Sancho, who aren't going to the World Cup, who are just going to have to be stuck in a room with Ten Hag and just listen to like all the training that's going on at the over the World Cup. And when that Cadiz friendly comes around on the 7th of December, which I'm hoping to go to, I think we're going to see a really refined version of this with overloads and better crossing from the half space. It's exciting time, boys. I hope you enjoyed that show.
yeah, totally. And as you can see by the comments here, I think most people are behind Ten Hag now, and they can see that it is promising, as Cement was saying there. So yeah, big up, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We've been the eye test. We've talked about the West Ham game and tweaked it again. I'm picking up things now. I'm going to incorporate on my Sunday team. I want to say big up to Tyrone as well. I know you messaged me and said you got a Sunday team and you're going to implement a few things there. So hopefully, let us know how you're getting on with your team. Yep. Bath Times team won at the weekend. My team won at
Yes.
the weekend. And I think Tyrone, hopefully you can get your boys on board as well. So
I
on that
absolutely
note,
love Tyrone to come on like during the World Cup and tell us how he gets on with like implementing those ideas. It's like it's the best part of the show is
you have been
um
summoned.
is
Tyrone,
hearing
you've been
people
summoned.
talk
Come
about.
on.
No, he's not being sorry. It's his choice, isn't it?
It's an invitation.
It's yeah. It's
Summons
not a
is an
summons.
invitation. Well, a summons is an invitation, isn't it?
Well, there's more authority in a summons than in an
Yes.
invitation. It's about consent, Omundi. Very important.
Yeah. Big up, guys. We're going to sign out now. Thanks for tuning in. All of you guys, make sure you press the like button and tell your friends as well about the eye test. Later.